You are going through something hard right now. Maybe it is something you have been carrying for weeks. Maybe it has been months. Maybe it is something so heavy, so exhausting that you wake up every morning already tired from the weight of it. And all you genuinely need is to tell someone, to sit across from another human being and say, this is what is happening to me. This is what I am feeling. This is what is breaking me. Because that is what we are told, isn't it? Talk about it. Open up. Let people in. Sharing your pain makes it lighter. And so you do. You pick up the phone. You sit down with someone you trust. You open your heart carefully, vulnerably, completely, and then something happens that nobody warned you about. They do not hold your pain. They use it. Not all of them. Not always. But enough times, and with enough people that you are left feeling more alone after sharing than you did before. More exposed, more betrayed, more foolish for ever having opened your mouth. And you think, what is wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. You simply shared your pain with the wrong people. And today the Stoics are going to tell you exactly who those people are. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers who ever lived, wrote something in a letter to his closest friend that stopped me completely when I first read it. He wrote, "Retire into yourself as much as you can. Associate with those who are likely to make you better. Not those who make you feel temporarily heard. Not those who nod and say the right things in the moment. Those who actually make you better." Because Seneca understood something that takes most people a lifetime to learn. Not every ear that listens to your pain is on your side. Some ears collect. Some ears judge. Some ears wait patiently and quietly for the moment your vulnerability becomes useful to them. And the person who shares their pain without wisdom hands their deepest wounds to people who were never equipped or never willing to handle them with care. Your pain is sacred. It is the most honest part of you. And it deserves to be shared, if at all, only with those who have earned the right to hear it. The first person you must never share your pain with, the gossip. You already know this person. They know everything about everyone. They always have the latest information about who is struggling, who is fighting, who is falling apart, and somehow whatever you tell them in confidence has a way of reaching people you never intended to tell, not because they are evil, not because they deliberately set out to hurt you, but because information is their currency. Sharing what they know is how they connect with other people. It is how they feel important. It is how they buy their way into conversations and relationships. And your pain, your raw, private, deeply personal pain, is the most valuable currency you could ever hand them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect. The gossip will break your confidence without even recognizing it as a betrayal. They will tell your story with genuine concern in their voice. They will share your pain as though they are worried about you, and every person they tell will nod and then tell someone else, until your most private wound becomes public conversation, until the thing you shared in your most vulnerable moment becomes the thing people whisper about when you walk into a room. Keep your pain away from the gossip, not because you do not deserve to be heard, but because your story deserves better than to become someone else's entertainment. The second person you must never share your pain with, the competitor. This one is painful to accept because the competitor does not always look like a competitor. Sometimes they look like a friend. Sometimes they look like a colleague. Sometimes they look like someone who genuinely cares about your success. But underneath the surface, they are measuring themselves against you constantly. And here is what happens when you share your pain with a competitor. They file it away, not consciously, not cruelly, but instinctively. Because knowing where you are weak, knowing where you are struggling, knowing what is breaking you gives them an advantage they did not have before. Epictetus said, "Keep your attention focused entirely on what is truly your own concern. Your pain is your own concern. Your struggles are your own concern." And handing that information to someone who at any level sees life as a competition is like showing your opponent your cards in the middle of the game. You will wonder later why things shifted between you. You will wonder why they suddenly seem more confident around you. You will wonder why you feel slightly smaller in their presence than you did before. It is because they know something now that you gave them, and knowledge in the hands of the wrong person is never just knowledge. It is power over you. The third person you must never share your pain with. The one who makes it about themselves. You know this conversation. You begin sharing something deeply personal, something that has been weighing on you for days, and within 2 minutes they are talking about themselves. Oh, I know exactly how you feel when that happened to me last year, and suddenly your pain has become a launching pad for their story. Your wound has become a waiting room. They sat in briefly before moving on to what they really wanted to talk about. This person is not malicious. They are simply incapable of holding space for anyone other than themselves. And sharing your pain with someone who cannot hold space for you does not halve your burden, it doubles your loneliness. Because now you are not only carrying your original pain, you are carrying the additional pain of feeling completely invisible to someone who was supposed to hear you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change. But if not, what else do they expect?" The person who makes everything about themselves cannot show you anything. They cannot offer you perspective or wisdom or even genuine comfort, because they are too busy being the main character of a story that is supposed to be yours. Share your pain with someone who can be quiet long enough to actually hear you. That person is rarer than you think, but they exist, and they are worth waiting for. The fourth person you must never share your pain with, the one who secretly enjoys your struggle. This is the hardest one to talk about, because this person will never admit it, not to you, not to anyone else, probably not even to themselves. But there is a specific type of person in this world who feels a quiet, almost imperceptible relief when someone they know is struggling. Not because they hate you, but because your struggle makes them feel better about their own. The Stoics called this schadenfreude pleasure, derived from someone else's misfortune, and it is far more common than anyone is comfortable admitting. When you share your pain with this person, you will notice something subtle. They lean in slightly more than usual. They ask questions that go deeper than comfort requires. They seem almost energized by the details of your suffering. And when you leave the conversation, something feels wrong. You cannot name it exactly, but you feel more exposed than relieved, more observed than understood. Seneca wrote, "Malice drinks the better part of its own poison." The person who feeds on your pain ultimately destroys themselves with it, but that is little comfort to you if you have already handed them the most vulnerable parts of who you are. Watch how people respond to your good news. Watch how people respond to your bad news. The one who responds with more energy to your struggles and to your victories is not someone who should ever know the depth of your pain. The fifth person you must never share your pain with, the advice giver who was never asked. You share something painful, and before you have even finished speaking, they are already solving you. Here is what you need to do. Have you tried this? The problem is that they mean well. They genuinely believe they are helping. But what they are actually doing is refusing to sit with you in your pain long enough to actually feel it with you. Because sitting with pain, someone else's raw, unresolved, uncomfortable pain, is hard. It requires patience. It requires silence. It requires the willingness to not fix but simply to be present. And the compulsive advice giver cannot do that. So they fill the silence with solutions you did not ask for. They turn your emotional need into an intellectual problem, and you leave the conversation feeling not comforted, not understood, but diagnosed. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." The person who listens twice as much as they speak is the person worth sharing your pain with, not the one who has already begun crafting your solution before you have finished describing your wound. The sixth person you must never share your pain with, the weakest version of yourself. Now this one is different, because this person is not someone else. This person is you, the version of you that reaches for the phone at 2 in the morning when the pain is loudest. The version of you that wants to send the message, call the person, confess everything right now in this moment, because the weight of it is simply unbearable. The Stoics called this acting from passion rather than reason, and they considered it one of the most dangerous things a person could do, because pain at its loudest distorts everything. It makes permanent decisions feel urgent. It makes the wrong people feel like the right audience. It makes vulnerability feel like relief when it is actually exposure. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When the pain is loudest, that is exactly when you must be quietest, not because your pain is not valid, not because you do not deserve support, but because the 2M version of you, the broken, exhausted, desperate version of you, does not always choose wisely who to trust with the most sacred parts of your story. Sleep first, breathe first, think first, and then from a place of clarity, rather than crisis, decide who truly deserves to hear what you are carrying. If this spoke to something you have been feeling, share this with one person who needs to hear it today. Subscribe for more Stoic wisdom every single week.